to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Rachel Zegler has reached the bottom of the barrel. Even people who work in Hollywood were shocked when Disney quietly took Snow White off of stores and screens across the country, as if it had never been there. It cost a lot of money and left theaters empty. It is said that Disney is canceling all future woke reboots. What about the real meltdown? It's Rachel. She's giving up under the pressure of months of backlash and terrible box office numbers. She's crying on live streams and ranting in interviews, and she has to face the fact that her job might never get better. What went so badly wrong, and why does Disney act like Snow White never happened? Let's watch the movie right away. Now, theater owners who were legally bound to show Snow White on a certain number of screens began to protest. They said that shockingly few people came to see the shows, even on the weekends, and begged Disney to let them stop the run early. A lot of the time, they didn't wait. They switched it out for just about anything else they could view. Then there was a moment that broke the web. A Snow White fan shared a short video from inside a show. It looks like the theater is empty as the camera moves around it. Not just a small group, not full. You could count the people who came on one hand. It feels more like a school gathering that got canceled than a big Disney movie.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the book we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two, okay. 2.
That wasn't even the worst part. Things got worse overseas. Going even further, Lebanon not only changed when the movie was shown, but they also banned it totally. Not just from theaters, but from everywhere in the country that sells films. By official. It's not even being brought in. Then the blow that no Disney executive wants to hear. Lilo and Stitch, the weird tropical cartoon classic, was quietly on track to make more money in its first weekend than Snow White did in its whole run in theaters in the US. This movie wasn't an Avengers movie. It wasn't like a Pixar hit. It was Lilo. With a dog from space, it still crushed Snow White like it wasn't even there. The merchandise is also falling over. To make people want them, Snow White toys, t-shirts, and mugs were all sent out in small groups. But shelves are still full after months. Disney doesn't even have the right to give it away. Now we get to the person who is at the center of everything, Rachel Zegler. The internet is a hitting bag. Now we know why co-stars are supposedly turning against each other, projects are being shelved, and Disney's whole live-action plan is in danger. What's going to happen next isn't just a loss at the box office. There was betrayal in public, career sabotage, and a breakdown that was caught on tape. As Snow White's public breakdown began, the cracks in her character started to show. What Rachel Zegler found out made things worse for her. Gal Gadot came first. Gal didn't throw Rachel straight under the bus in an interview, but she also didn't defend her either. Gal said that there was a gap between what the movie gave and what fans were expecting when asked about the negative reactions. It was a misalignment at the corporate level, as she put it. That's right, it wasn't my fault.
Gal delivered the following. The most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork. And when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process. And I just found that to be very exhausting.
And then came the real moment. When asked if she'd speak more about her experience with Rachel, Gal said, "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." One sentence, 10,000 rumors.
Further, I think those that follow me will be satisfied when I am more comfortable to share more details on the specifics, but for now, it's something I feel is not the right time to jump into.
Fans took that right away as proof that things were crazy on set, and that Gal had held back out of respect for the job. But now, there are hints that the truth is much stranger than it seems. Andrew Burnap, Rachel's other co-star, didn't even show up to the opening. None for the press, none for advertising, none at all. This is where things get crazy. There were claims that Rachel had already hinted that his scenes might be cut. During a press event, she said all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. And they pretty much were.
One of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
It would be awful to work for months on a Disney movie and then have your lead co-star tell the press that you might not make it. It makes sense that Andrew didn't go to the red carpet. Behind the scenes, the energy wasn't just tense, it was poisonous. In the next step, Disney did something very big. Their next big live-action adaptation, Tangled, was formally canceled. In peace. Without any notice. Not a caravan, not a teaser. There was no news, just left. Even though Disney hasn't said that Snow White is the reason, it's easy to see the link between the things. It was thought that Tangled would be the next big reboot of a franchise, and early rumors said that Rachel Zegler was the most popular choice to play Rapunzel. It was clear that Disney didn't want to take that chance again after what happened with Snow White. It wasn't just changing the cast, it had to do with plan. Fans would have expected a huge budget for Tangled, as well as a full campaign based on a face that people on the internet were already sick of protecting. It wasn't worth it for Disney to do the damage. And you wouldn't make that choice unless you think your star is part of the problem. It's not just a failed movie that we're seeing now, the whole business has turned its back on it. The actors are leaving. Studios are canceling plans for new projects. Directors trying to avoid blame. What about Rachel? Still in the middle of everything that wasn't even close to what happened next, Rachel Zegler defended the movie for months, went on press tours, and told fans that the theaters would be full. But when the movie came out, it was one of the emptiest theaters she had ever been in. It was caught on video too. Rachel Zegler was sure of herself before Snow White came out in theaters. Not sure enough. Fans heard her say that there would be lines to see the movie, that it would break new ground, that the public would accept the new concept. She made it clear that she still thought the original Snow White was out of date, and that her version would make it right. But what's the truth? There was no way they were alike. As the reaction grew online, Rachel shared an emotional video on Instagram in which she looked like she was trying not to cry. It was real. Her fans were against her. The internet was making her press talks take longer. That brave pre-release energy turned into damage control all of a sudden.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces. And people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Then there was the dramatic moment. Rachel went to a showing of her own movie with flowers in her hand, smiled, and posted like it was a party. The camera did not lie, though. The theater was almost empty. A few people were spread out in their places. Nothing, no power. It was just her and a few quiet rows. It was meant to be a move. It turned into a joke. It was shared by fans with comments like Snow White and the 7 empty seats. Some people laughed and said she brought flowers to a funeral. Some people thought it looked like she was on a press tour for a dead town. The numbers then came. The US box office for Snow White never got over $100 million. Not even with all of Disney's marketing power behind it. Even though it came out all over the world. The show was losing a lot of money. Even worse, it got one of the lowest scores on IMDb for a new Disney movie. It got worse from both critics and fans. The story had turned around totally. People weren't happy for Rachel because she broke with custom. It was her fault that it was broken. Yet, the final blow came from a place you wouldn't expect. Minecraft. Yes, Minecraft. The real-life Minecraft movie came out a few weeks after Snow White and did incredibly well at the box office right away. People said it was too childish or silly, but viewers loved it because it was fun, didn't have a lot of drama, and was made just for them. Rachel's Snow White was slowly making it to triple digits, but Minecraft flew past it in its first weekend. Don't talk about politics. There is no trouble. There are only blocks, zombies, and Jack Black yelling into a mic. All of a sudden, Disney's most expensive remake of a female movie looked like a parody of itself. And people who work in the business say that Hollywood noticed. There were rumors that Rachel's potential projects were being looked at again by studios, that she might not get the parts she wants in the future. After what happened with Snow White, Disney wasn't going to back her for any more reboots. Rachel Zegler was once hailed as a rising star. Now she has to answer the most important question of her career. Can she get back on track? It seems like this movie ended the story before it even began. As Rachel tried to get better, something else was already happening. Another lively roast. This time, it's from the company that hasn't hit yet, but will for sure. Because if you thought South Park's roast was mean, wait until Family Guy and The Simpsons join in. Do not miss the next one. See you next time.